So I was watching Popcorn Planet, and I'm a member of that channel, and I enjoy his content and Steph and Kim. And then the following was brought up, and he goes to talk about Adventures with Purpose. Was it too much by sharing the moment with the grandfather? I haven't seen the video. I'm waiting till Friday to watch it. My mom's even already watched it. And he goes on to talk about Zav, and you'll see what he says about Ryan Upchurch. And because I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Zav or speak poorly of her, and because I like her a lot, I figured I would interject and give my opinion. Whether or not anybody cares is another discussion, but I'm going to do it anyway. And let's take a look at this.
I watched them, Adventures with Purpose, Finding Kylie Rodney. Whew, that one hit me hard. That was well, it is weird, man. I'm going to always be honest with you guys. I got no problem with them. I think they're doing good work here. They're clearly a business. It is. And they're also clearly like making content. Like that's also important to them.
Yes, they're a business that are crowdfunded by the people that watch them. And then they're able to go on and support what they're doing and helping families. That's how it's done. They're not government assisted as far as I know. So that's what they rely on to do their amazing work. So yes, for everybody commenting they're in for it for the money and the fame, I do not agree, and you're entitled to that opinion. But I believe that the good they do far outweighs what they get from it, other than probably the emotional reward. I'm sure there's a reward of giving people closure. However, I think they give back a lot more than they take.
It's not just finding people's content. I don't personally have a problem with it because I believe the funds and things and the deals that they're doing are all going towards it. Now, there are people out there who are complaining, such as SF Investigates. If you only care about a pay-per-view fiction content.
Now, I also think people need to give them a little bit of leeway, considering this was the first, I believe, their first recovery. Normally, they're dealing with parents that have been grieving or have been processing it for several years. So to compare it to all of their cases, I don't think that's very fair. And until, and it's not even our business to know, if the parents agree to it, I'm sure they've got consent and there's already been misinformation as far as notification of the family, then that's their business. And because it's on YouTube, it's our business to commentate on that. But I don't entirely agree with SF Investigates calling it a pay-per-view. That kind of degrades the concept of the video in itself. It's not just it's an extremely heavy moment for a family, and by calling it that, that's disrespectful in itself, in my opinion.
Content, then this post not for you, but Kylie is not an effing pay-per-view event. They were microphoned when we arrived after I informed her dad and her grandfather, microphoned up to record the reaction of a father and a grandfather. Now, I look, my response to this is, well, yeah, of course it's pay-per-view. They got to pay for it. Are you fucking paying for it, SF? Like, who else is going to pay for this? This equipment's expensive. The time is expensive. I will never shame creators, especially if they're doing stuff for good, to help families and deliver content for people. That's not my beef at all. However, I will say the one portion of that video, which when you guys watch it tomorrow, it'll be free. You can become a member today. And I do support them. I became a member. I even bought their magnet fishing gear because I wanted to do that with my kids. I was looking at their merch and I was like, oh, they got a really cool magnet kit. I'm sure I overpaid, but I was happy to do it to support them. So let me be clear. I support.
He keeps going back and forth between praising them and then kind of throwing jabs by saying he overpaid for the magnet fishing equipment. He's probably just speaking his mind and being honest, but I guess that, in my opinion, wasn't entirely necessary to say.
Them guys. I'm not trying to be mean here, but I always want to keep it honest. I got to be honest. I was a little uncomfortable. They filmed them calling the family. Like it broke me. Like I'm like watching it as a filmmaker. Like I was like, oh my God, this is like.
No, I've been following I cannot say that, SF Investigates tweets. And I've been relying on that information. He's been very informative and he seems supportive of the family, and his interviews were honest and informative. But a lot of people in chats and stuff say that he lies, and I haven't asked anybody why that's been said. Maybe it's deduced from the AWP misinformation. However, now that's just inserted, this whole thing has just inserted more drama into the case, I guess, what I'm reflecting on. And it's all unnecessary. And it's fun to discuss, but I don't know why discrediting people needs to be part of the discussion. And when I said AWP misinformation, I mean when he tweeted that AWP never informed the family. Now it seems that that was inaccurate.
So well done. It's beautiful. Like really, like my God, it's like emotional. Like that you see how real this is and the work they're doing and the real emotions. And from a content producer perspective, I was like, oh my God, give these guys an Emmy. It's like heart-wrenching and amazing. But then as I stepped out as a father, I was like, did you really need to put the reactions to the family in there? Like, was that really necessary? Like they call the family up on speakerphone and are recording the reactions. And I got to be honest, it was a little unnerving. And it felt like, did I need to hear that? Like, I understand if you want to tape it for your own sake to make sure it's there, but I'm curious what you guys think. I don't want to play it. I don't want to, it is because it's intense, but do you guys get where I'm coming from? I don't know if you had a chance to watch it or not, but do you feel like that is a line that maybe was crossed of like, even if the family agreed to it, like, did they need to play the reactions? And then the father comes and they are filming while the father's asking questions. And it's an emotional moment. And to the credit of the guys, they're like, I would just get out of here if I were you. Like, do what you want. I know it's your daughter. But even the father's like, I don't want this to be my last memory. And he sort of speeds off and leaves in emotion. But, you know, I don't know. It's consent or not. It just feels like a line maybe crossed. Kim, what do you think? Should we hear them calling the family to say that they found Kylie?
And Kim goes on to say, well, if the family gave consent, and then Steph goes on to say, which is a very fair question, are families really in the best emotional state to make a decision like that at that point? And again, it goes back to this was their first recovery, and not every case is so raw and initial as this case was. So yeah. Now this next part is the part that upset me. He doesn't say anything about Zav, but I just thought it was unnecessary. It's almost calling her ignorant. And Ryan Upchurch was up there first, and Jared joined. So I don't know if he like didn't watch the video and then just did a reaction to it or what, but wasn't like Jared was subjected to him being added to the panel. He chose to join afterward. And Zav is always the most respectful of people's feelings. So to hear somebody suggest she's careless or was aloof about it, maybe that meeting, and clearly Jared thought that it was necessary. He felt compelled to join the panel, that it was necessary to have that panel. He had previously super chatted prior to that he supported her in how she's covering their content and how respectful she is. So I just don't like this other narrative that was created from Andy's panel. You can see the animosity he has towards Ryan, but that has nothing to do with Zav, and it's clear he's an ICTML supporter, and so is Steph, his co-panelist. So I just wish they weren't as biased in making judgments upon people or creators that they clearly don't even know.
Insane. This guy's literally the worst, and I don't understand why anybody's taking him seriously, and I'm getting angry about it because, Ryan, stick to the music, you moron. This is ridiculous. And this Zav girl, why on earth did you connect these two? Are you just an ignorant person who didn't do your research as well? I'm sorry. Everybody gets a second chance.
No offense, but I don't think she even asked for a first or second chance. She doesn't need one. She's amazing at true crime and sticks to true crime and actually doesn't do drama like is taking place on your panel right now. So, yeah. But I just didn't like it because he had over 5,000 in the chat, and a lot of these people probably don't even know who Zav Girl is, and now they're entirely thinking she's either an airhead or is besties with Ryan Upchurch, which whether or not she was, which I don't believe she is her business. And I just hate how it was presented. And he says he usually trims these portions out later on when he does these little, I don't know if they're tantrums or moments, but almost 6,000 people already saw it, and if that number's even accurate. And how anybody could encourage or say anything negative about AWP right now. I really don't understand that mentality at all, and I won't try to.
I get it. He can apologize. But my God, he hasn't even apologized. The dude was out there last week putting out videos saying Kylie Rodney was a fake. Did she even exist? It's all fake. He was literally Alex Jonesing this. You don't get to then just pretend that didn't happen and be like, oh, I'm so glad you got to meet the heroes who found her. This was sickening to me. It was sickening because it was frustrating because Jared, the Adventure of the Purpose guy, is there giving him.
So in my opinion, it's clear he didn't watch the live or the entire live, or he would have seen that Ryan was there first and Jared came after, which is insulting to Jared, in my opinion. Not that that guy gives a crap, but yeah. And the next is just a question his chat asked, and then the parody he goes on to do about Ryan Upchurch.
And you got to hear dumbass Ryan Upchurch. Yeah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God, it was infuriating that he was even. Why are they encouraging his toxic behavior? Yeah, I don't know. If they knew and still went there, that's weird.
He did know he was up there, so I guess it's weird.
Jane B, knowing that he said she wasn't real and it was a scam, Adventures with Purpose should have been like, I can't be on the show with him. Now that maybe they didn't want to cause like a rift and it was spot, but I don't know, man. It was a bad look.
This is the parody part that he does about Ryan Upchurch, and trigger warning for the very end because he makes a self-harm joke, and I'm not trying to be extra, but I know personally people that specific joke or scenario he makes would trigger.
So smart. You're so much smart. Oh my God, Ryan, I believe it. It's like I'm talking to God. I've never met someone so in tune with the truth and the unbiased factual facts of the.
And I know everyone's freaking out because Ryan suggested that he believed Kylie wasn't real, and that's not what this discussion is about. I don't think it's right to say that. I'm not saying it's right. He could believe that, and I'm not going to go into tinfoil conspiracies, but stuff like that does happen on a daily basis. I don't believe that's the case in this scenario, so I'm not defending those actions by having this opinion. This is an entirely separate discussion. I'm just saying, is this really the best response to that? I'm not so sure. Not to mention all the sketchy details around Zaname and Ikmel and them. There was some suspect details in that whole thing, and because it's not necessarily relevant to the case, I don't really care about it, but I do think there was some effery going on, and that's clearly irrelevant to them, though, I guess, or they're not entirely informed, which could be the case.
The internet, I must follow you at all costs. Thank you so much, sir, for telling me how it is. I didn't understand it. Ugh. Oh my God, shoot me. Not a fan of this guy.
I guess this was just exhibiting that everybody can do better. Ryan could do better as far as jumping the gun, and he said that it was language he learned from the music industry to bait information, which probably worked. And the law enforcement, the sheriff's department contacting him via Instagram was sketchy. So that was exhibited from him doing his videos. And I don't think that Andy's response was entirely informed and was emotionally driven because of his friendship, which I understand. But yeah, just did not like how I felt after watching it and figured I'd share.